May I share a fundamental understanding of life with you? It is as toward the most significant action in life. By the way, first let me ask you, what do you think the most important, the most significant action in life, apart from your struggle to survive and seeking pleasure, which are the most basic activities to all living beings? Let me start this discussion with a puzzle. Suppose you happen to walk along a rocky path at the foot of a huge rock. Suddenly you hear an explosion up and you see the rock is cracking and falling down in a terrible speed. You are stunned. You see no possible escape. There is only 1 minute left to do whatever. Now the question is, what will you do in that last moment? Don't say, I will run away, because you cannot run away to either side. Think of your answer. What is the most significant action in that critical moment? I'll come to that later. Now, let's come back to the question. I am sure the question must have arisen in you too in solemn moments. Any sensible person would ask it himself. Have you realized the most significant action in life is awakening? Nothing but awakening. There is none other action more meaningful than awakening. Suppose you are going through a terrible dream where you are lost in a jungle. While roaming to find a path out of it, suddenly a wild elephant confronts you and it starts charging you. You run away in terror. Imagine, at that moment God appears and tells you, ask whatever you want, it will be given unto you. Now, what will you ask God? Heaven, angels, blessings, riches on earth, or even salvation? If it were me, I would say, please awaken me from this dream. When I say awakening, I don't know how you would understand the word to most of us. Awakening means awaking from sleep. This is a too narrow view. Awakening goes much further in depth and wide in our life. If there had been only physical sleep, awakening will be the most significant action. But the problem here is that there is another sleep in our life which we seldom realize. You may awake in body, but a greater part of you may still be sleeping. That greater part is your mind. Are you sure your mind is fully awake at this moment? Physical awakening is no problem. The problem is awakening from the sleep of the mind. Let me call this sleep of the mind slumber. Most of us live in slumber, don't we? But we are not aware of it. You can't simply ignore it and go on with life, because it plays havoc in life as well as in the world. See what is happening in the world. Why the whole world is in such a chaos? Why people have made a mess out of their life? Why there is such a suffering in people's life? Forget about suicide bombers, fanatics and all the rest. Look into yourself and see your own situation. All this chaos is due to the lack of the sense of reality in man. Even though we are physically awake, our mind is sleeping in delusions like dreams seen in the sleep. The slumber of mind expresses itself within us basically in 4 states. What are the 4 states of slumber? Let us take one by one and examine it. The most basic state of slumber is the unconsciousness within us. Have you realized that there is a deep layer of unconsciousness within you. It is there while you are awake as well as while you are asleep. In a way, sleep is a return to the unconsciousness. It is same with death. Dying is also a return to unconsciousness. Life begins with the unconsciousness and ends with it. It is there always at the bottom of our existence. Rising a little high from the unconsciousness level, one comes to the dream reality. This is the kind of reality you experience in dreams. There is a trace of reality in dreams, though it is very thin. To the dreamer, he is real. Things happening to him are real. This is what we call dream reality. Now, what is most intriguing here, that even while awake, a part of our mind is in a state of dream reality. Deep down, we live in a dream. Perhaps this is the reason why the sages have said that all life is a dream. The third state of slumber is the emotional reality, where one lives in the world of emotions, taking them to be real. For instance, when in anger, you take it as real. Another feature of emotions are that they produce imaginations of their own. Anger produces its own imaginations, such as that person is an enemy, he is a threat, and therefore he has to be destroyed. Under an emotion, you think its imaginations are true. Just take fear. When one is in intense fear, you know the kind of fanatical threats and dangers he imagines. Moods are also part of emotions. Like dreams, emotions also cover the perception of reality. Stronger the emotion, stronger the imaginations it produces. Under strong emotional states, one cannot distinguish between what is real and what is false. The moment you identify yourself with an emotion, you lose the sense of reality. It is so obvious. Take the case of a religious fanatic. He imagines his religion is the only true one and all other religions are heresies. He imagines God is favorable to him and his co-believers. He acts from this imagined reality. See how the emotions like anger, sorrow, fear, lust produce imaginations. For instance, lust produces an image of ultimate satisfaction, which you take to be real and start seeking. The last state of slumber is thought reality, where one takes thoughts to be real. This thought reality persists unconsciously while we are awake during the day. In it, you identify your thoughts, beliefs, concepts, opinions are real. Ideologies are typical example for taking their thoughts to be real. Such a person is ready to die for his ideals. The above status of consciousness are not hierarchical or gradual. Rather, they are choices in the mind for the person to choose. In fact, our whole life is lived sleeping in these slumbers. In this discussion so far, we identified the four states of consciousness, which are the unconscious, dream reality, emotional reality, and finally thought reality. With that understanding, now can you observe how you, as well as others, act under each mental slumber? If this is such, then you cannot expect an enlightened society. Masses are moved by blind forces of their delusions within the collective consciousness. In the collective consciousness, they live in a world of imagined reality. They keep on moving from one delusion to another Through your slumber, you connect to the collective unconsciousness. Now, all these four slumbers may be summed up as egoic consciousness, namely the slumber of ego. In other words, the four states of slumbers are components of the egoic consciousness. Ego is the center or the nucleus of the mind. It is the living entity in us, operating through dreams, emotions, and thoughts. The mind is immersed in the egoic consciousness like a fish in a pool. It cannot get out of it. The moment mind goes out of the egoic consciousness, it dies away. Can you observe how your thoughts are motivated by your ego? Ego is such a primitive one, and it knows only to act in two ways. That is to struggle to survive and seek pleasure. Take any activity of the mind and you will see it belongs to one or another. Now we can come to the most important question. Can there be a fully awakened state of consciousness? Of course, yes, there should be. If the mind can awaken, then there can be a fully awakened state of consciousness as well. We will come to that. Still, we have to go further and unravel the nature of awakening. Life demands us to awaken to that ultimate reality, because otherwise there is no foundation for our human life on earth. There is no guiding light to life. Are we to live in dark like animals and die away? We saw that awakening is a process which is arising from the unconsciousness and goes up opening to the full perception of truth. Higher the awakening, higher the perception of truth. Also, higher the awakening, clearer the perception. Because all our psychological sufferings from our distorted perception of reality. But we do not appreciate or value the mind's ability to awake. At this point, one may question, awakening to what? Is it just awakening or awakening to something? Yes, that is a good question. Awakening means awakening to something. What is that something? It is a positive thing. Each time you awaken to a positive dimension of life, like coming into light from darkness. That light is the essence of life and therefore the essence of the universe. In the fully awakened state, you open to the cosmic consciousness, which is the essence of universe, which also may be called truth. The meaning of the word truth is that which is ultimate. However, cosmic consciousness is beyond our imagination, and therefore it can never be captured by our thoughts or concepts. It is something one has to know only through direct experience. The moment egoic consciousness transcends itself, the cosmic consciousness is open. Now lastly, coming back to the puzzle, I asked at the beginning, what are you going to do if you have only 1 minute left to live? What is the most meaningful action in that minute? Seeing there is no escape whatsoever, you gather your mind and awaken yourself to the highest awakening, which transcends the situation and the mind with all its